morning. Welcome to the Old School podcast about the American education system. Its traits, its qualities, its quirks, its picadillos, an array of things, much of which must be answered for. And we attempt to do so with answers insofar as we know the answers. Good morning, Herr Dr. Bourgeois.
Good morning, Herr Miller. How are you today?
I'm all right. I think the last thing we said on the last episode we recorded and posted was "Go Frogs." I think we can go ahead and I don't know if we can backtrack, retrograde, erase that from from the last podcast or from the beginning of this one. But let's just say things didn't turn out the way folks around here had hoped.
No, it was a travesty, what we saw there.
This isn't a football match. It's a sham, a circus. That wasn't it. They gave their best.
They did too. I object, Your Honor. This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery of a sham, a mockery of two mockeries of a sham. I move for a mistrial.
Denied. I strongly object, Your Honor. Oh, well, in that case, well then.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's a Saturday morning. It's a gloomy Saturday morning. And we have news.
Oh, no. Oh, I somehow think I know where this is going, but I forgot what it was. But I saw something like a day or two ago. I thought, I bet Ross is going to grab onto this.
Well, it may not be. I don't know. What do you think it is?
I don't know. I can't remember. But it seemed right up your alley. So let's see what you have, and I'll tell you if it was that or not.
Well, the news is in May of this year, May 31st, I'm out.
That's it?
That's it.
Wait a minute. You're out as in you're leaving the country?
Well, actually, I am leaving the country, but I am planning on coming back. But no, I am out as a teacher, and let our irrelevance begin as commentators on the education system with none of us in it. And so, who knows?
So you're a lame duck right now, officially.
I'm officially a lame duck. So I made a suggestion, just off the cuff suggestion earlier this week, and no one listened. So it's official. The ignoring has begun. So it's like that coach, his contract's not going to get picked up.
Yeah. And
the players know there's nothing in it for them to listen. It's bad.
Well, it's probably for the best, Miller. I don't think they like you to begin with. we need to celebrate your retirement with balloons and speeches.
Listen, my sainted mother thought I was special, and I do not think for 1 second that it goes much more beyond that. But I'm gonna handle this retirement with just kind of keep it undercover and just don't want anyone to notice it or recognize me.
What do you mean? You're broadcasting it on a podcast for the world to see if anyone actually listens to this thing.
No one listens. But
okay, so it's still a secret.
Nothing changes just because I announced it on this thing. Okay. So the best part about it is, so the last day of school, which is typically the teachers getting their stuff together, wrapping things up, checking out, that sort of thing. Usually that is accompanied by a faculty luncheon, which is very nice. They have a very nice luncheon, very good food. It's a lovely affair. But typically in the course of that affair, there is recognition of people who have been there 10 years or 15 years, where you get like a toaster or something, I don't know, or a pen. and then there is a kind of a section of the ceremony where those who are retired are then feted.
Really?
And when that happens,
yeah,
if all goes well, I'm on a transatlantic flight to Geneva.
Wait a minute. You're not going to be recognized because you planned this in advance
Yes.
and booked the flight so that you would miss the ceremony where they give you a token reward and maybe applause. I'm sure applause, and maybe you get to make a speech. Probably not anymore.
Probably not.
Better to ask a man like Ross Miller to make a speech. And it's possible that all your old students from the past 25 years are going to be there in the auditorium.
Nobody will be there.
And you'll walk in there and they'll have music playing and Mr. Holland's opus, but it's Mr. Miller's opus. And you're going to miss that, even though
I'm going to miss it.
The planning is already happening.
Gleefully so will I miss that. And it's not that I don't appreciate that people want to do stuff like that. But I don't want to disparage those who find that of worth.
Yeah, but most people like everybody but you.
No, listen, don't exercise yourself out of this because you're right there with me. So
no, when I'm officially retired, I had a little, just a little gathering. I mean, at the workplace, it was pretty quick. It lasted about 15 minutes or so.
I present to you this laurel and hearty handshake.
Yeah, but still, I mean, so essentially, you're tripping out, leaving before anybody can even thank you, shake your hand, and are you going to pick up all your stuff? So you're going to, as if you weren't there, go in the cover of darkness and remove all your posters and your podium and all that.
Make one last trip with a box with a potted plant sticking out of it.
So what's going to happen with the podium here, Miller? Because the listeners don't know, but you have quite a nice podium that you've taken with you for many years.
Well, the thing is that podium was a gift by students to a former mentor of mine who bequeathed it to me upon his retirement, and I will seek to do the same thing should anyone. I have one or two people in mind, in case I don't want them to feel compelled to have it. But yes, it is a sizable, sturdy, serious podium, and so hopefully that finds a good home. Everything else, I could really care less. I have in my classroom, a bunch of quotes that have significance that spans my personal interests as well as my academic ones. I have maps and things of that nature. I have goofy signs. I don't really give a rip about that stuff. I do have plans for the books that I have in my room, of which there are plenty. And hopefully they will find equally treasured homes in other classrooms once I leave. But outside of that, and I don't want the recognition. I don't want the accolades. Not that I assume that there would be recognition or accolades.
No, you're like up for Teacher of the Year, aren't you, or something like that?
I was this past year, yes. And so, and it must have been someone must have known, and it was a sympathy vote or something along those lines.
So you could still win, or they already moved to the next phase?
I could still win. I would find it shocking, the likes of which what happened to TCU. I think that would be about that shocking if I won. But nevertheless, just to kind of be able to step away and to do so with as much dignity as I had before I got there. I shall leave there
to begin with. Well, I wouldn't be too quick to give away the store.
No.
I'm talking about the podium, the books, the poster of the dog with the gun at the dog's head saying, "Pass this test or I'll shoot this dog," or whatever. That's
kill
great.
This dog. So
yeah, I'll kill this dog.
We should probably explain that a little bit here. First of all,
yeah, but I think we brought it up once. But
okay,
there could be a scenario where you decide to take a course or two at a private school, and they allow you to bring some things to your classroom, and you bring your podium, for example. And so I think it would be a great decoration in that nice office of yours. It has a lot of dignity to it and history. And I mean, it's yours, and you put a lot of time there and important time. I say you hold on to the podium.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I think if I do find myself in another classroom. I'm not saying that that's impossible, because as we both know, that's a foolish thing to declare. But if I were to find myself in a classroom, I can't see it as a permanent thing, like a 9 to 5 kind of a thing. I don't know. Who knows? But I mean, it's I have a veritable plethora of options in front of me. And you're right. Maybe I should not be so quick to give away the store altogether. But
yeah, you get a little giddy. You start throwing books at people. Here, have a book, have a poster.
There's no rules.
So you probably have 40 or 50 or 60 or 90 sick days. Days that you can use, and actually you earn them.
Yes.
So technically, you could. I mean, you don't want to give up too soon because you have advanced placement tests and things like that. But are you going to strategically take some days off because you use them or lose them? A lot of them. Some you can cash in, but only about half of them, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah, there will be some cashing in of days, but I think on the whole, I think I only really have maybe 2 days that I plan on taking between now and the end of the school year. One is an appointment. The second one is a day baseball game that I typically do after the AP exam. And so I don't intend to start taking days off left and right. That's not me. And so I can't do that.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, I never did either. Some people do. Those folks are out there. I mean, they just will call in sick for a semester and fake an injury. That's it.
I used to know a guy. I knew a guy once in the first school that I taught in. He had been teaching for 30 some odd years. And he was the last teacher I ever saw carry around a paddle, to give you an idea about how far back this guy went.
Actually had to hold it so it was ready at all times.
He was ready at all times. He said, and I asked him one time, I said, why you carry that paddle? He goes, you never know. I said, I guess not. So, but wow. But I think the last semester before he left, I think he was doing 3-day weeks, and I think even then, I think sometimes he did 2-day weeks, but I think for the most part, he did 3-day weeks. He did a 4-day weekend every weekend.
Yeah.
And he just, I once asked him, why are you doing this? He goes, because I can. He said, they're not giving me money for this. I might as well go ahead and try to, because I think at the time there was like a limit to how many days that you could sell back. And he was so far beyond that. And so he became worthless that last semester. And I don't begrudge him. I can't do that.
Well, you wouldn't know what to do with yourself. You need to find a hobby, maybe whittling or
Well, it's the thing that gets asked the most. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was ever your intent to go from teaching school to some sort of period of dormancy before you took on something else. So I think you may or may not have gotten these questions as much as I have. But I think the combination of the fact that I'll be 54, and so it's a ridiculously young age at which to retire.
Really? What do you think? You could go on another 14, 15, 16 years.
I could. I also don't feel the need, and this is the thing I kind of struggle with. I also don't feel the need to work. I mean, I have to work, of course, because, it makes sense financially. I do have an 8-year-old. It's not like I could become a bum, but the notion of working all the time or working a lot, I feel no need to do that. And so, so there was, and we talked about this before. So there was a time, and you were with me, unfortunately.
What?
Or fortunately, based on your opinion, but there was a time when I burned out.
Oh yeah, those were fun drives to school. I loved it.
between that and me barking at our colleagues, apparently I barked at them because our lovely boss, she who shall not be named, at least not right now, until we can convince her to get on the show, but she actually did like a little intervention. She's like,
Yeah.
what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah,
And it was,
you're just an angry, depressive character back then.
I was. And so because yes, I was. And it wasn't until, and you weren't doing any intervention. One, you didn't know me that well. Two, I think you had enjoyed it too much. But
I was afraid of you.
well, the problem was apparently so was everyone else. At least that's how my boss put it. And
Yeah,
so
no, it was intimidating. I learned to like that, but yeah, we kept our distance.
well, yeah. But the thing was is that, coming out of that, I remembered a conversation about with my godfather about
You're what?
work. My godfather.
Okay.
I had a godfather. What are you saying okay for?
Sounds like you're making this stuff up.
Various cultures have godparents. This is
I'm,
not.
I'm honored and grateful for Don Corleone. Okay.
I talked to my godfather, who strangely enough was also from Sicily, and so because he was seriously, his name was Antonio Matarazzo. God rest his soul. But
You're Italian. You're not even Italian. I don't get
I'm
this.
not Italian. I'm not Sicilian. He was Sicilian. There were godparents, not grandparents.
Good God.
Anyway, my godfather worked as a longshoreman. He basically means he loaded and unloaded ships, on the docks in Baltimore. And I remember I asked him one time, because I had a chance to observe him and see him at work once. He took me to work for whatever reason one day. And I remember afterwards I asked him, I said, "Do you like this job?" And he looked at me and he said, what does liking it have to do with anything? He said, "I don't do this job because I like it. I do this job because I'm making money to provide for my family. The important bit is to be with your family." And I think since then, I have had an attitude about my job. I loved it. I still love it, even though I'm leaving. I love it. However, it's just a job. And the most important thing about the job is that it provides me the means through which I can have fun and spend quality time with my family and friends. The job itself is important. It's significant. It is not uninteresting, but at the same time, there's a bigger thing that I seek to have. And I think with retirement, the idea about retirement is not about the idea of finding some other gig to toll away for 40 hours a week at, but rather to do something that I can have fun doing, that I find intellectually rewarding, but at the same time also have plenty of time to hang out with my daughter and to hang out with my wife and friends. So for me, it's a more of an open question. So I think going back to how we got down this road to begin with, a lot of people ask me, "What are you going to do next? What's the plan?" And I don't know if there is a plan. I mean, I have some ideas, of course, but maybe working for your 2-bit operation you got going on over there.
You're talking about Ahart Solutions, the
Ahart Solutions,
leader
yes.
in educational research, particularly for schools of choice across the nation.
Indeed. Is that your elevator speech?
I just made it up, but it's pretty good.
That sounded great.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. I'm fielding these kinds of conversations and questions, but that's okay.
Wow. So you're about to go through the stages of grief. It's real, and I'm not joking here. You've known about this, but it suddenly becomes real as the date approaches, and you will go through some things, I'm sure.
It's interesting because I have some friends who are no doubt speaking from a point of envy. They're like, "Man, are you just so excited you can't stand it?" I said, and really in my mind, I have too much I'm thinking about before I get to May 26th. It just doesn't make any sense to spend an inordinate amount of time feeling happy for myself. And I'm not one to naturally feel happy for myself anyway, but there's too much to do between now and then. So while I do suffer greatly from senioritis, I think, at the same time, I'm still kind of focused on the job and I'm still committed to the job. And I think that keeps the excitement somewhat tempered. And I've got things I got going on this summer. I got other things I got to think about. And so it's just, it's not quite it's time for me to mentally check out stage of retirement.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a good response for your principal. Very, very much political. It's all about the kids.
It's all about
I'm
the
a
kids. I'm just
servant to
happy to be
them.
here.
That's right. But symbolically, you could take down something or bring a little box home every day between now and then. And then you wouldn't have any cleaning to do. And it also would, start the mental process. Take down a poster, bring it home.
Well, it's interesting because I told my students found out, and so I went and told my students, and the main reason I did is that it was going to start to become pretty evident by the end of February, beginning of March, that things were starting to disappear from the room. And so it was one of those things where it didn't make sense, and there was no particular reason not to say anything. And so I decided to let them know. But I think that's already started. The idea certain things are starting to disappear from the room, and
yeah.
So and
fun.
Say again.
I mean, it's fun for you to do that, but I'm sure there were tears. A few tears were shed.
I hesitate to bring this up, but only because they were probably already primed. Because what happened was that I had this one class, and a couple of the kiddos that walked into class already looked as if they had been crying.
What?
And so we get into the class, and what I did not know was that the class before mine, those who were clearly red-eyed, had just found out that one of the most beloved teachers at our school and one of the most remarkable teachers at our school had just announced to her students that she was retiring. And so they already were coming in, and there were tears in the eyes and what have you. And then one of the first things I say at the beginning of the class is that I'm out of here. And then the tears started again. So,
oh wow! So you lost your thunder a little bit.
I lost the thunder, right? But yes, they were crying. I think they were already in a vulnerable state. So I don't know how much that really has to do with me leaving, or or perhaps it's other things that are occupying their mind. But
were there some students who threw their hats in the air and celebrated?
I think the only thing that prevented some people from doing that is that they had no hats to throw in the air because I don't allow them in the classroom. But nevertheless, there's probably a few that, well, here's the thing. If you were the kind of student that would think that, it doesn't really help your situation. You still have to deal with me to May. So you're really not escaping anything by the fact that I'm retiring.
Well, I mean, from a student's perspective, you're either there in front of them or you're not. It doesn't matter if you're retired or moving to a different school. And you've left, a few schools in your 10 years. And so you've been through this in a way, quite a few times, maybe 4 or 5 times.
I have, although it's only different to me, I think, so for the kiddos. And, to be honest, I don't think so. I've left 3 schools before I came to my current school. And so in the first 2, there was no discussion. Because I was there one day, and then over the summer I went somewhere else. And so there was no, and I like it that way. There's no protracted goodbyes or anything like this, or, what have you.
Yeah.
And then the school that you and I shared, the one I was at before my current one, I didn't tell anybody. Only you and the principal knew. And I told my kids first, like the day before I left. And so I told them the day before I left, and the next day I was out. And then a lot of the teachers didn't even know. I eventually told a couple, but I was, I just didn't want any part of it. And so it's different for me for this way, only because I can't just leave now. I have to have a bunch of stuff set up and put into place. And I had to make my declaration, because certain school districts, they will pay money if you declare early. And so
really,
yeah. So the district that I work in, they offered money.
What?
If you declare by a certain point of time, they offer just a scintilla more if you had perfect attendance for the remainder of the school year, which that's not going to happen. So I'm just going to, take my bonus and then head off to the sunset.
I don't like that technique of kind of bribing you. They should they should just treat you as a professional and let you do your thing. But I think it's a wonderful transition, publicly, because you also have relationships with the faculty, and you'll get to have these conversations, everybody knowing, and not just abruptly say, by the way, I'm retiring. You won't see me next fall. So I think this is the better way to do it than as if you have a getaway car parked outside.
And that's basically what I did at our job.
Yeah, I remember.
And so that probably was not the best way, maybe not the nicest of ways to go about it. And I'm not really sure why I did it that way, but whatever, so
because somebody else left before you and it was rather awkward.
Well, yeah, there was that too. So that's where we get the image of the chair with balloons attached to it and
speeches,
some sort of cake speeches. I can't do that. So, but I think it does call into question, though, a lot about. And here, here's the remarkable thing. There are a lot of people who, once they find out I'm retiring, they are doing a lot to fit my retirement into narratives, and narratives that are political, that are controversial, that are really have nothing to do with me, Well,
what do you mean? Are they saying you're being forced out, or you're tired of the political climate, or?
Yeah, they're tired of the political climate. You don't like what these folks are doing in our schools, or whatever the case may be. The quote unquote lackadaisical attitude towards COVID. It finally got to you. You're done. And I hate to burst people's bubbles, but it has nothing to do with any of that, And I think every time you hear on the news about the quote unquote mass retirement, and I don't say quote unquote to mean it doesn't exist, but the mass retirement happening, they always try to frame it within a particular narrative. And so when I say I'm retiring, then people say, "Oh, you're retiring because of fill in the blank."
It's a math question of your years of service and your age plus the other years you had in the military equal.
People were shocked. People were shocked to find out that they said, "Oh, you're retiring early?" I said, "No, I'm retiring just in time." You had to have a certain point to get to, and I hit that point a couple of years ago. And so, yes, I'm very grateful I had the military time I was allowed to buy, and that makes it a little bit easier to do. But yeah, you're right. It's a math question. It's not really anything else. It's certainly not the things that people try to place upon it.
Well, you'll get a lot of friendly advice, and you'll probably run into some retirees who've already been in your shoes. You do notice when you're away from students. I mean, that's the trickiest part, and because you need it, and it kind of feeds your ego and feel your sense of who you are, and suddenly that part isn't there, and so there's a bit of withdrawal. Eventually, you'll find yourself around high school students, and it might start to stress you out because you haven't been there in the trenches, but you've learned to gain energy being around those people, which is something that you will miss.
I think I'll miss. So yes, I think you're right. I think above and beyond anything else, the students will be what I miss. And it sounds trite to say it that way, but I think for the reasons that you just said, in addition to the fact that those things make me feel young, they make me feel kind of energized. I think those kind of things tend to be the things that we live for. And so it is not a capricious thing to say that I am doing this because of, or I'm going to miss the students the most. I am going to miss colleagues, not all of them. This is the thing that drives me nuts about retirement is that oftentimes, damn near all the time, you'll see someone who will retire and they'll send out a school-wide message.
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank everybody.
It's been an honor. Like you just won an award. Everyone was waiting for your email.
Yeah.
And so,
are you going to do one?
No, I'm not. And so,
wait a minute. Every teacher, every administrator who's ever left has acknowledged the group. You write a group email. You send it out.
I'll tell you what I wrote. I wrote something to my department. Said, folks, y'all should know.
You didn't tell them?
No. Well, I mean,
you did it by a text message?
I did it by email. I didn't want to sit there and repeat this conversation 20 times for everybody in my department.
Man. No, you get them together in a room.
No.
You say, hey, let's talk. Here's what's about to happen.
That's kind of presumptuous too. That assumes everyone cares enough to come to a joint location. So I sent out an email to the department saying, listen, just let y'all know I'm retiring. I appreciate the camaraderie and the conversations. Talk to you later. And that's basically all I said. I didn't say anything about family or it's been an honor or a privilege or, I can't believe what a wonderful staff this is, and there are some wonderful folks on our staff, but that's just not me.
Okay. And did they just ignore it or did they come up to you and say a word?
No, most people said something,
Okay.
Well, but it allowed for some people to not really say anything at all, and there's no reason for everyone to say something, outside of congratulations.
So, did you talk to your principal first?
Yes, I let her know first, and then I told the department just because there was going to be a possibility that people need to be able to declare if they had an interest in my job. And so I had talked with my department chair, let her know. And so there's a couple of things that had to be put in place just to make it easy for the department to transition before next fall. And so that's the primary reason why I did it. It wouldn't have been for any other concerns, but. So
see how you feel when you look on the school district website and you see a history teacher position posted. Qualifications, you have a pulse and you have just a joke here and there.
Yeah, it's a joke. We kid.
So just to be this, I mean, you're being relatively serious here, but tell me what you're not going to miss. That's where the fun begins.
Well, what am I not going to miss? Let me count the ways. I think a lot of the administrative crap. I think a lot of not that our administration is crap, but I just think the bureaucracy of the job is frustrating, infuriating, obfuscating. It's a problem. I think I'm not going to miss this rather seemingly headlong dive we're doing into irrelevancy. Hopefully you and I, with the book and with the podcast and with other things that people are doing, hopefully enough alarm bells can be sounded that we kind of step away from this precipice. But we seem to have no desire to step away from the precipice. The idea that everything is about technology, it's about making things easy, and no one seems to understand that when you make things easy, you make things irrelevant or you make things trivial. And the fact that this is all going on, and you hope that we can reverse the trend, you hope it's a question of we come back from one extreme and we start making our way back from that. I'm not going to miss that element of things. I'm not going to miss just the idea of having to get up to go to something that I was starting to dread doing.
Oh, that's and what about trainings and faculty meetings?
Well, I mean, that almost goes without saying. I mean, the level of pablum that you have to endure at a typical meeting. For no other reason but that the administrators are forced to do what teachers often do, and that's checking boxes. We got to say this, we have to say that, what have you. But I think the idea of the kind of the vacuous nature of some of these things that you and I have shared with. Now we can look back on it and laugh, but at the time it was tragic in its implications. Still is, by the way. But yeah, I think I could, if I never have to go to another meeting ever, I will die. I'll die a happy man.
Wow.
It has been well chronicled on this podcast.
I know. I love that part.
Yeah.
But I have this hope that there will be a penultimate faculty meeting. And somebody who's maybe listening to this show, I know we know some people from your school,
yes,
is going to alert that principal and say, let's honor Ross, even though he's trying to bag out of town. Yeah, for the meeting before, they'll say, one of our retiring teachers is going to be, on the lam, intentionally, by the way. So we want to honor him right now. Ross Miller, come up here, please.
Everyone give a big round of applause, Ross Miller.
Yeah. No, you're getting a little silent there because you're thinking that could happen.
I know that can happen. And I want to inform those who I work with who are listening. And I cannot tell you how much I do not want this to happen. So if there is any level of fondness that you hold for me and our friendship, you will keep this to yourself. And at least this little plan of yours that Dr. Bourgeois has carefully and rather diabolically placed into your mind, just set that aside.
Okay. Well, if it happens,
remember who your friends are. Okay, buddy.
That's right.
All right.
Wow. Well, I'm excited about it, and it'll give us more time to have a regular breakfast during the week. Which
That's
is
true.
Kind of decadent, and we used to meet occasionally on weekends, but during the middle of the week, that's retirement.
I wish maybe this is for another podcast, but it'd be interesting to know what your experience was like when you decided to retire. I mean, you already had several things cooking by the time you stepped away, and so it'd be interesting to know to what degree was your feelings similar to what I've expressed here today, different, or just.
Well, I can answer it in just a sentence. I transitioned from my teaching position to a more corporate role as an executive director about 6 years after my final day teaching. Meaning I had a period of being, on the dark side. And so the transition from teaching was not that. I wasn't technically retiring. I was within the same organization.
Right.
And so I essentially left a corporate position when my number was up like yours. So it's not the same thing. And then of course I transitioned, had to hit the ground immediately with my business. So it was, I just kept working one day to the next. Not nearly as entertaining as your story.
It'll be interesting though about how things change, our ability to know what's changing. Within the school district, we still have plenty of friends within school districts. It's not like we're going to be unaware of things.
Oh no. I have the pulse of schools just because of what I do every day. With my research and all of that, but it's not going to be the same. We're going to be those guys telling stories, as opposed to now. You're right in there, and it's just a little bit more immediate. And these new developments, I've not experienced,
right? Because
I haven't taught, for 10 years basically. Wow, that's a long time here, Miller.
Yeah, that's a long time. Well, we'll see how this goes, and I fear that this episode might come across a bit self-indulgent.
Totally.
Yeah. But hopefully, our listeners hear from where it's coming, and understand what this means, and the fact that all teachers kind of go through this, of course. But just the idea that I think it's a human thing. Everyone has to make that decision of when it's time to step away. And, I think it's still a valid conversation to have. Everyone should have that. Think about what it is that you want to do, how far you want to go, and whatever the case may be.
Well, we'll have to compress some episodes during this time because it'll be, I think, funny as hell to hear you talk about this transition away. So
These will be the good intros into whatever other topic we're going to deal with on a particular episode. So
absolutely, and you might still have a few of those funny events, with parents or something, just for old time's sake. Have a complaining parent who goes right to the assistant principal and doesn't involve you, and you can rail about that publicly. We want a couple more of those things.
Okay,
sure.
Well, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise then. So. All right. With that, it is NFL playoff Saturday and Sunday. So I imagine we've got things to do today. But until next time, I will say adieu, Herr Dr. Bourgeois.
Auf Wiedersehen, Herr Miller.